Okay, now I'm muted.
Welcome back. My name is Last Known Meal, and welcome to the episode 29 of the Cyberpunk 2077 Community Podcast. Today with me, I have the usual bunch, but we don't have the Neon Arcade today. He was busy, so he's joining us next week. But we're gonna start from the right side. Mad Queen, welcome.
Greetings, Earthlings.
I hope that the everything is okay on the stream. And also joining us is Subsidian from the Triple S League. Welcome.
Hello, this is Obsidian, and today the main reason why Neon's not here is because it's Canada Turkey Day. So
yeah, I was like, where is Neon? Why is he not coming? Totally forgot. but luckily today...
Turkey Day? Turkey Day. Sounds funny.
yeah.
But luckily today...
What do you do?
Fancy
What do you
way
do
of
in the
saying
Turkey Day?
It's a fancy way of saying Canadian Thanksgiving.
So what do you do in the Canadian Thanksgiving?
It's the same thing you do in American Thanksgiving. You sit around a table, eat a lot of food, complain about politics, and get in fights with family members, then watch some sports thing or movie, and then yeah, that's about the extent of it. It's basically the same thing.
Fun.
Uh-huh.
My God, it's basically every occasion. It's like that where the entire family is getting together. It's like you fight with them, then you watch sports.
My family and I usually don't discuss about politics.
No,
but actually, the three of us are artists for a living, so usually we discuss films and we discuss, especially with my brother, comic books. But we never talk about politics, and not for a reason like, well, we don't want to fight. No, we just don't think about it.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I don't know. Like maybe different cultures, but here it's like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's not a cultural thing. In the rest of Spain, usually people discuss about politics. I mean, it's something special from my family. I guess that when the families gather together, they try to find a common subject, and everybody knows, quote unquote, knows about politics. So this is a common subject. But as my brothers and I have different common subjects, we usually go to the more interesting common subjects instead of discussing about politics. Then in Spain, you have the another, usual topic, which is football.
Oh.
It's more or less like politics.
It's same here. People are crazy about football here as well. Or as
really?
Americans, we call soccer.
Well, I think it's in the whole Europe that football is a thing. I'm not sure, but I believe everybody in the different countries now in Europe.
Yeah, also in Latin America, it's big. It's like, I mean, if you think about it, most of the like really good football players are really from Latin America. It's a huge thing there. But yeah, we're moving far. Cyberpunk Football.
Well, what are the sports going to be in Cyberpunk 2077 football? Because I heard that football is also huge in Poland.
I think so. But is it like talking about the Cyberpunk lore? Did they mention football at all?
No, so they have other sports. There's I can't remember the name. It's some sort of football, but a little more different and dangerous.
Oh damn.
Yeah, and cyberboxing, as Ali's saying. Obviously, boxing is the main one, as we already saw in the gameplay and the trailer.
My God, cyberboxing, that fighting against robots that someone hacks and he knocks you out.
I love this scene.
There's a couple of movies that were inspired kind of from the cyberpunk genre, and there was a roller, like a rollerball, where it was like there was balls, but you were on like a little like floating platform thing, and you'd fight on this little like platform thing. I can't.
Like in Final Fantasy 11.
I can't. I haven't played that. I don't know about that one. But yeah, it's like you're on little platforms and you're flying around to like a court, and it's like hockey with like full body like fighting combined with like a type of a rollerball / basketball thing. I know it's not officially tied into the lore, but it's like that's the kind of sports that you could kind of see. I still think things like soccer and football and really basketball is probably one of the main ones. I suspect that that's still played quite heavily. It's just it's just not really talked about that much.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a couple of people play basketball outside in the trailer, so yeah, people know about it. They are playing.
Yeah, but in the law, the thing are combat sports.
Yeah, I mean, why play football when you have guns?
Yeah. No, but I mean, this includes like physical combat, like boxing. I mean, putting boxing in the game is very law friendly.
That's true. I mean, I can just imagine when like augmentations become a thing, it's gonna be a big discussion if athletes should do it, because that obviously puts them on edge. If you have an augmentation, like let's say 50 years from now, that makes you faster or stronger.
Well, there's I believe it's in the Rockaboy manual. Not sure that it's this one, but there's a discussion in the law about that. About what's the limit? Obviously, in this universe, you have the limit of going cyber psycho. But what's the limits on implants?
Yeah, especially when you're playing sports. Like, is that against the regulations? Blah. I can already see it coming. It's gonna be crazy.
I believe I don't remember. I believe it was in Detroit. Detroit Become Human. That there was also a couple of one of those law magazines that you were finding in the world that also discussed about this.
I don't remember.
This has already been discussed in the real world. At the last, I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was the last Summer Games. There was a couple of biathlon runners who had like lost their legs, and they were using these running. I wish I knew the names of these things. They're it's basically kind of like a fiberglass leg replacement that flexes and bends, and the complaint from some of the other participants were that those actually gave you an advantage because of how they operated and how that you could run faster and all this stuff. And so they were demanding that people with missing limbs be relegated to a different classification. So it's already existed. And it's kind of annoying because the guy who had these missing limbs, he didn't even place in the top 10, but people were still complaining because they had it as a perceived benefit, and so there was some complaint to that, which I don't want to get into. I'm not going to judge on that, but it's like it was interesting to me at the time because I was like, wow, we're already kind of there. We're already looking at this, like, physical augmentation in some cases can enhance you to a certain degree, and eventually there will come a time where where your body will, machine will eventually outpace flesh.
Well, it's funny because I believe first combat handball. I didn't remember the name of the sport. Combat handball.
Oh my god.
And second, I believe that this discussion says more about how augmentations are going to be perceived in the moment that they are extended, more than the real advantages in sport. Because being perceived as an advantage, even if they're not, says a lot more about how people in general perceive these potential augmentations of the body than the perks that it would give you. Because there's a layer of social acceptance. Usually it's said that you have to be careful with how much advances you put in a generation, because society can only move that fast. And this is going to be one of in the future, when the future that is almost already here, when augmentations are a thing. I believe that this subject is going to divide people a lot.
Yeah, I will.
No, yeah, I agree. There's a lot of, like, because we see it in a whole bunch of things, and it is interesting to see kind of where we where the separation will be. I think back to oh dear, what was it called? The initial game before Supreme Commander, where it was like it's like there's a great war that started, and it originally started as a confrontation about the transfer of consciousness from flesh to machine. Mm-hmm. It's like that's what started this intergalactic war that's been raging for, all time, and yeah, quite interesting.
Jeez, yeah, that, I mean,
it's funny because it's always been thought that it would be somehow like it happened with surgery, that people perceive it differently if it's for a health need or is aesthetic. And at this point we're at, still aesthetic surgery is not totally accepted. So some similar thing is going to happen with augmentations. Everybody understands that if you lost a limb and you put another leg that is mechanical, this is quote unquote okay. But what will happen when these augmentations are not needed for health needs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're going to take something because it's better than your own.
Yeah, and we do kind of see that there's a group of people that kind of like they go out of their way to create or give themselves disabilities so that they can replace themselves with other things, or just, I mean, in some cases just collect the benefits. But it's like, yeah, I don't think that's the primary cause of concern. But ultimately, I suspect that eventually human limbs will be outpaced by technology, or additional limbs will be augmented on. And this is something that I really like to focus on, is the potential for things that we don't have, like tails, ears, wings, an extra set of arms, an extra dozen set of arms, an extra, anything and everything. It's like, and can you learn how to use it? What was it? There's one show in particular that I'm thinking of. It's a Netflix kind of sort of animated. It's one of those technical 3D animations. But it has this one character in it. She loses an arm, and she gets a robotic arm in place of it that has the ability to split her fingers down the middle. And so she has 10 fingers instead of just 5, and she can type and work faster because she has the capability of using multiple things at once.
Like in Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, and there's this comment that one of the characters has is like, wow, I can't believe that, or it's amazing to me how fast humans can learn to pick up additional limbs. And I do wonder if that's the case. I think that is kind of the case, but we have yet to really, really see it.
This is
well, hunger makes you learn fast, because I believe that the bending point is going to be when these types of things are going to be needed for pure survival. If you can't get a job if you don't have these fingers, you are going to learn how to use them pretty fast.
Now,
because otherwise you're going to be able to survive.
In some way, yeah, if we go into that kind of world, but I don't know, my opinion on all of that. The thing is, humans always thrive to.
Let me interrupt you here. What do you mean if we go to that world? We're already in that world.
I mean, yes.
Those things already exist. It's not something that is in a science fictional future. It's in the present.
Yes, but I mean, if things somehow magically change, or if we do actually continue on this path of dystopia,
that is also here.
True, exactly. Continuing the path that started, I don't know, probably 20 years ago, sadly. But the trouble is, humans will always go for the better version of themselves, and if you have augmentations that enable you that, of course people will take it. Now when that thing stops being medical only and becomes a normal thing in society, it's gonna happen every time it happened with when the phones started being used. Just saw some guy with a big ass thing of plastic holding it, talking to someone. At first, that's gonna be really strange for people, especially older people. Like, okay, you see this guy with a robotic arm, that's gonna be like a shock. I think after some time, the people are gonna get
But
used to it.
it's really different because in the case in the case of the phones, we are talking about an item that is outside the body,
Yeah.
but the body is sacred. And we still live in this culture where the body is sacred. Some modifications to the body are seen as like tattoos or piercings. These are things that took its time to be accepted, even though they don't change you a lot. So imagine something as big as putting an arm just and not because you need it. So this is something that's going to clash directly with the culture that we have where where the body is
It's
sacred.
true. It's true. Probably, I hope so that things are going to change, at least in people's minds, because of younger generations at that time when that becomes a normal thing. Because I don't think it's coming anytime soon. But I don't know. It's like it's with piercing also. Piercings are still in some countries and some areas considered a
I don't
taboo.
think this is coming anytime soon. Well, we already are discussing, and with we, I mean we as society, we are already discussing about the problem that we have already here on machines taking the place of humans in doing jobs. And what this is going to mean and how jobs are going to evolve for humans. So it's not that humans will choose a better version of themselves. It's that humans will do whatever it takes to survive. So maybe survival is going to take that. And machines
Maybe.
being replacing people is a good reason to find this better version of yourself that is capable of thinking faster, of moving faster, of lifting more weight.
Yeah.
Because the mix the good things of the machine with the good things of being human and having the ability of improvise and the imagination of humans that machines don't have so far. But let's wait because this may happen in the future.
Yeah, I mean, when I say like not anytime soon, I mean like 30 years maybe. For me, that's a long time.
Well, if nothing grave happens, I believe that all of us are going to be alive in 30 years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm gonna be a bit old though.
We're going to be old and we're going to be complaining like old people.
That's
In my
okay.
times, we didn't need this kind of fingers to type.
I
Look
mean,
at
at the
that
same
now.
time, that's good. If you can change your arms when you're really old and be young again, that's cool. I mean, why not?
Well, you will need to replace,
I'm
the
gonna
things
upload myself
that
somewhere.
are going to make you
Yeah.
die if they fail. If your arm fails, you're not going to die. But if your heart fails, or your liver fails, or
Yeah.
your lungs fail, then you're going to die.
Well, and some people some people ask the questions like, well, how do we know that humans can rank up like this? And I think that the answer to that is that we know that humans can rank down. So if you I think I mentioned last week, if you get the there's a couple of parasites who will drop your IQ 30 points, like legitimately. Just a stroke will can drop you from normal functioning to non-functioning. Period. So there's a whole bunch of different reasons and different calculations that that can be entered into the field to understand or to try to understand whether or not that how this ends up taking form, right? So yeah, I think that's something to kind of keep your eye on. Is like, well, if we can rank down just by a parasite, dropping you 30 points, is there a type of symbiotic technological advancement that can rank you up by 30 points? And so I think that there is a capability of that, because we've seen, we do know of different people in the history that can get that smart. Tesla and Thomas Edison, amongst Einstein, amongst others. Is like, if we can get, we can suddenly push, instead of having one of these people show up every 50 years or so. Imagine if we can have like a couple 100 million of them, right?
Would that
It's
be
like,
good?
it's like Well, would it?
Well, there are currently
Wouldn't be good, right?
brilliant minds working on science that are not known.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can mention, I don't know, Madame Curie and Einstein.
Oh,
Yes,
very
but they were known, but
it's
there are
very
already people
flattering.
with this.
It's very flattering, but I don't know if my future pursuits will be that impactful.
But there's a lot of people doing really impactful things, and their
Yeah,
names are
yeah.
not known. That has
That,
nothing
that
to do with their ability, with their brain capability.
That's true.
that's, a, that's a joke, by the way, for anybody who
Yeah.
doesn't listen.
Who doesn't know Cybe?
Now, so Neon Heart in the chat is actually talking about nanotechnology. Nanotechnology really is on the cusp, and it is very, very fascinating. Let me tell you, it is one of the most interesting fields there is right now, and the stuff that we're seeing just as a preliminary is so fascinating. I can't like it's so interesting. Oh,
You
oh
can see
goodness.
just the sparkly eyes is talking about it. You can feel it. Every time someone
Like-
says nanotechnology, I think of Jason X.
And yeah, and this by the way does not. I'm not saying this just because I happen to, live very closely to one of the primary fields of study in this particular field. So, but yeah, stuff is on the way. It's cool.
That's exciting though. Everyone who likes technology now. It's like yay. Everyone who dislikes it's like no. We're gonna have robots walking the streets. God, didn't Boston Dynamics already start selling like the robots they created? I think they actually.
They've started to sell them now.
Oh God.
Yeah, and I say this, but I also give a little bit of a warning. It's like people have no idea the type of mess that they can create by being overzealous. So you do have to, everybody does have to be very, very careful because the mess that we can get into is really, really deep.
Yeah. Just look at the algorithm that YouTube uses. I mean,
just take a peek at that. My goodness, it's ridiculous.
And it has an effect globally. It has that ripple effect globally. If your algorithm is doing something, it's going to affect a lot of people. And YouTube is huge. It's going to affect the entire world. What they upload, when they upload, and how much they upload.
And also what kind of ideas spread and what
Yes.
kind of ideas don't.
Yes, exactly. Because some things, if it's recognized and we don't like it, we're just gonna remove that under the rug. But yeah, that's sadly the future. It's like I'm already looking at people who are gonna get Boston Dynamic robots. They're gonna start hitting them like in the commercials they did to actually check the balance. Don't do it. They will remember.
Well, I have a friend that is a fan of European martial arts, and he likes weapons a lot. And when we meet, more often than not, we end up talking about weapons. And he showed me some models that Boston Dynamics is developing to arm the robots with 20 millimeters cannon.
Yay.
And this is a kind of future that I don't know if I want to have.
God damn it.
Yeah, it's well, right now I believe that's against the Geneva Convention.
Yeah. I mean,
so right now it's like you can't have a robot that autonomously targets and then pulls the trigger.
Yeah.
You always have to have an operator behind it giving it a command to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
So
Well, you need
now,
that
mind you-
to
mind
use
you,
it,
this
but not
somehow-
to develop it.
yeah, well somehow this doesn't happen to include landmines for some reason, but I
And in
guess why
discussion
we're sick
about
of-
technology, we should differentiate between known technology and hidden technology. Well, usually William Gibson says that the future is already here. It's just that it's not evenly distributed.
yeah. Used by military
And that's the thing,
first.
that everybody has the same technology.
That's true. Usually the first things that come are for the military. Computers, everything. Now it's spread worldwide. I guess some of the things we're going to see in the future, so yeah, we had them for about 10 years. I don't know, it's like...
Also, well, hidden technology sometimes is hidden, because for what you say, because it has its purpose. But sometimes it's also hidden because society can only move forward
Yeah.
at a certain pace, so they cannot release more technology that one people can assimilate, because otherwise it will be a disaster.
Yeah.
Such as Operation Black Knight, for those of you who are up on the talk. So,
What?
yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
I don't know what is this.
V of Rivia asks, guess I'm late. So what kind of news we got this week? Well, we are discussing about the evolution of technology in our current society and
Yeah,
the impact that it will have on society.
we do have some news that did come out yesterday from PAX Australia, so we should get around to that.
Yeah.
Yes, and Saib, you need to put your microphone a little up or closer to the microphone.
Closer,
I believe that you are the one
like
that
so.
sounds.
Yeah, you sound better now.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that.
Slide.
Please go on.
Yeah, we should talk about what has come out of PAX. It's nothing huge, but there is some new clips here and there. Especially with regards to the rating of this. Like, we were all expecting this to get a pretty high rating, but the one thing that Australia was afraid of was it getting completely outrightly banned in that country.
They're really strict.
Yeah, they're really strict, although they have relaxed some of this stuff, but most of the really, like, anytime you're going to get something automatically banned is whenever you have, like, sexualized violence or something in that, and the rating board is going to decide, oh, yeah, that's a step too far. So, yeah. But this was made quite clear, is that Cyberpunk 2077 does not have any of that. And I heard some people were quite shocked by this. What do you mean it doesn't? It's like, well, wait, you were expecting it to? Like, I mean, there's violence and then there's sexualized violence, and the two just, I mean, that's a pretty big difference. So, but yes, we have confirmation that that's definitely not going to be something that's going to be showing up in the game. Neither is being rewarded for using drugs. However, this is his guess. This is not them confirming a rating or anything from the Australian board. This is just them. This is just him saying is like, you don't get rewarded for using drugs, as far as I know, in the game. So I don't think that this is going to come into kind of an issue, and where there is kind of a combination of some adult visual themes and violence in combination. It's they've done it in an appropriate way, and the best example of that is, of course,
Well, what is considered to be drugs? Because, for instance, the Kerensikov has a booster that you have to inhale.
Yeah. Well, and that has caused problems before. So, like, for example, in Fallout, I used this example the other day. In Fallout, you have jet, right, and that's used via an inhaler. However, you have inhalers being used in what's a quick example? Stranger Things. One of those kids has an inhaler, correct? If anybody knows off the top of their head, I'm pretty sure that they do, or one of them does. And that inhaler is considered medical, not drug use. So it depends on how they showcase the booster. If it's shown as more of a medical thing, then it's going to. So, as a quick example, if you're trying to get past the thing with a kind of a breather, or kind of like a puffer kind of thing, it's like if you take the puffer and it's slated as medical and it heals you, that's one thing. If you take the puffer and then it distorts your vision and you get a significant reflex boost, or like your character, like in Fallout, whenever you do that, it's like oftentimes you get this by the player character, because they're getting high, right? So that's the big difference, and that's going to shut one thing down right away versus not in the other particular case. So I think what we're seeing here is that they will be trying to position these things more so as like medical and less so as
I mean,
as a reactive. Right?
I mean,
So
yeah, it does sound crazy what I'm about to say, but it's like if you have a video game which has some sort of drugs, which in real world is not classified as drug, we don't have it, it's an invention, it doesn't exist. Do they only refer to it, okay, it's something that reflects a drug? Or it's like, okay, this is something called, I don't know, water, let's call it like that. It is a drug, but it's not technically classified as drug, not in our world, and it's just a fictional thing. So if it's mentioned as drug, then it's gonna be banned.
It reminds me a line in the source book, in the main source book of Cyberpunk 2020. What would be a cyberpunk game without drugs? A lot healthier.
I mean, it makes sense for people to use drugs in that universe. It's
Well, makes sense to people to use drugs in a universe where there is no future and there is no hope. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
and under this perspective, could we say that braindance is a drug because people is addicted to braindance?
technically it's not classified as drugs, so maybe there's a loophole there. I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess that the definition of drugs is the drugs that we can understand, like drugs that exist in a world nowadays. Because if they portray braindance as a drug for or societies, like, well, yes, like it's a video game, it's quote unquote kind of addictive nowadays, but it's not, like heroin, cocaine.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand why they're so afraid of this. I mean, Australia is a huge market they can benefit from. So, of course, you're going to be careful. But, I mean, I'm certain they will do something, remove one small thing maybe, or just to actually have it released in Australia. Maybe it's going to be a different version of the game. I don't know.
Well, I really hope not that everybody can play the same game,
Yeah.
but I believe that it will be better if they made changes so people can play it that they cannot play it at all.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But besides that, censorship in Australia when it comes to this, there were also worries about microtransactions. They still have the same stance. It didn't change. He basically said, I think it's a bad idea to do microtransactions after you release a game. Makes sense. It seems like very profitable, though. Yes, it is. It's probably a hard decision for the guy that runs the business to decide if we should do it or not. But if everyone hates it, why would we do something like that and lose the goodwill of our customers? I mean, finally someone said it.
yeah.
We choose the customers.
Before we go on, I would like to answer a question in the.
Sure.
Tyler Landlaw says, so Australia thinks drugs in games makes you use drugs. Well, it's already a proven fact that if you have a predisposition for something, seeing it endorsed in media gives you more reasons to do that. It's like it's the main reason why product placement is one of the branches of advertising that makes more money. Because if something is endorsed in front of you constantly, you need to have a predisposition. That's why I believe it's very stupid when people say video games make you violent. No, if you weren't violent to start with, you can shoot whoever you want in the face playing video games. You're not going to get more violent.
Yeah, I mean, if I want to shoot 3 people outside my house, I would do it regardless of video games. So yeah, I mean, it's always the same thing. You try to blame something which you think is gonna be that, but you never tackle the real issue. You never actually fight, let's say, people that
let me follow, please. Sorry to interrupt you. I want to follow the question because Tyler did another one. That means you already had to use drugs. No, that you need to have a predisposition for getting hooked to things, which is different. This is a psychological condition. You may not be taking drugs. The same happens with microtransactions, which I believe should have the exact same treatment. Because if you have a certain predisposition for getting hooked to things, the predatory way that microtransactions are shown to people causes addiction in the future. So you may have the predisposition, but you never got into it. That's why psychologists believe that showing things that people may have a predisposition for that are dangerous, maybe dangerous. And also, I guess that it also depends on the percentage of people that shows that predisposition, because obviously there is people who have a predisposition for violence and for shooting people in real life. But these people, what they need is not video games being censored, but psychological attention, which is very different.
That is true. That is true. Well, hopefully people can get off microtransactions, please, so that everyone can enjoy normal games. But we already discussed that. I think on Twitter, it's like, who buys the games, who educates the kids on these things. And it's like someone says, yeah, kids do play the games. Kids can potentially now buy games, I mean, younger generations. But usually they're bought either by parents that should actually monitor what their kids play, at least to an extent.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I had a friend who worked in a video games shop, and he told me stories about parents that didn't know what they were buying.
Yeah.
Like parents going Supermat going to return GTA. Like, I bought this for my 10-year-old kid, and it's not suitable. Like, well, hello, you have here a thing that says that it's for 18.
I've seen parents walk in, buy these kinds of games, and then the shop owner is like, this can't be for kids, right? And they're like, don't you tell me what my kid can or cannot play. It's like, how dare you?
Yeah, that's the other side of the stories.
Yeah.
I also saw once. No, I didn't see it myself. A friend of mine explained to me. In a mall, they have a section for films, and they have a section for animation, and they have Disney and kids animation. And mixed with the kids film, you could find Urotsuki Doji, which is an animation film that is not exactly for kids. In case you don't know, this film is porn. And it was mixed with, all the types of animation, Disney and Pixar, and suitable for kids.
Oh.
Yeah,
and they just put it there, like.
I've seen that a few times. What was it? I've seen that with animes or adult versions of it that start with H. I've seen that in a whole lot of movie stores from time to time, and that's always really hilarious because I'm like, wow, somebody just has no clue whatsoever. My favorite one though was when I was at really early on. I was in a Walmart, I think it was. It was either Walmart or like one of these other like big box stores. They had America McGee's Alice in Wonderland sitting in the children's section, and I went to the first person and I was like, hey, this shouldn't be here. Like, you've got like a row of these boxes here, and this isn't for kids. And the old lady behind it's like, sir, apparently you don't understand what Alice in Wonderland is about. It's a friendly family adventure. I'm like, why does it say adults only on here then? It's like, and then I opened up the packages that had one of the flip packages, and she of course walked off. So I went to the manager and I'm like, just so you know, you really need to move this before you get complaints. I should have just sat there and watched as various parents started going crazy. But I mean, American McGee's Alice in Wonderland, that's dark. Like, that's really, really dark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not for kids. Not for kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's something that I'm like, probably shouldn't.
Yeah, but also.
Well, video games and animation. This generalized idea outside of people that knows a little bit about it that are for kids.
Yeah, but I also take myself as an example. It's like I had no control over what games I played. Like, my parents didn't know what video games were. It's like, and then one day I'm playing Counter-Strike. My dad comes, oh, what is this game about? Well, I'm a terrorist.
How old were you?
I was about 10. And I was like, Dad? So the whole premise of the game, I'm a terrorist. I have to plant this bomb. You should see the look on his face, what the hell?
I bet that went over real well.
But it was so innocent at the time. Oh, we have to plant the bomb, to blow things up. My God, but
Do
yeah.
you have a predisposition to be a terrorist?
No, no, but it never. But I don't know. I just take my case. For me, I didn't become a violent person because of it. It's like I still have the moral standards that my parents got into me to respect people. So I don't know. It comes down to people to people. But kids today,
Well,
I think kids today are open to more
moral
information.
standards. I mean, do you know Star Wars? Do you remember this conversation on the first Clerks about blowing the Death Star with a lot of workers inside that were building it that had absolutely nothing to do with the war?
That was an inside job. Yeah. I mean, it all comes down to. I mean, now you have to. It's like you have kids today have so much information on their hand. It's crazy. Like phones, internet, everything. Even though I'm younger here. I still lived in at least half of my life in this generation that didn't use internet all that much. I mean, our country didn't have technology for it back in the day, so I think that was such a plus side to it. Because you didn't have access to everything, you could kind of grow up in I don't know, outside. But yeah, I don't know. I think parents should monitor what their kids are playing, but of course, don't be too restrictive. It's like let them play games that are actually require thinking. That helps, trust me.
Yes, but the thing is that one thing is knowing your kid and knowing what they are capable of playing or not playing, and a completely different thing is not paying attention because you just don't want to take the effort. These are two very different things.
Yeah. I mean, if I don't know, I wouldn't like if my kids got the prostitutes in GTA started hitting them with a bat or something. Even though it's like a video game, it's like it's kind
Yeah,
of.
but for instance, I loved horror when I was a kid, and my sister, who is older than me, she couldn't stand it, and even today, she still can't watch horror, and I love it. So it all sometimes depends on the person.
No, true that. It's like it all comes down if you're violent, if you are aggressive, if you're like this, you're like that. It can come down from person to person. But I think the world right now that we live in today makes people do crazy things. Being bombarded with all the news and everything. It's like people can really go insane. But well, we're moving too far away from the topic.
Well, yeah, I believe that anxiety is so extended for a reason.
Yeah. Anxiety, depression, today's world, very present. It's like people are more and more susceptible to it. But yeah, I don't know. We regarding the news, I don't know if you want to continue on this topic. Do you want to move on? Hello?
Hi.
No. Well, we need to finish covering.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted
news,
to,
especially on the multiplayer front.
Yes.
So they've confirmed that they made kind of like this interesting thing happen where he's trying to cover up like the fact that they're working on like a new IP. It's public knowledge, and he says, this is quoting, "It's public knowledge that we want to make multiple AAA titles at the same time in the company. We haven't been able to, but now we're growing to the certain point that we might be able to do that in the future. At least we hope so. Meanwhile, it's already come out that they're working on multiple games. So it's like we know that they're working on multiple games right now because they've done so much, and they've said, oh yeah, we're working on a couple of different cyberpunk related things, and we're working on something else. It's like, oh, you're working on something else? Oh no, we didn't say that. Like, but you said that you were working on something else, that you were working on a new IP or something that was an additional thing. Oh no, we didn't. And so now here again, it's just kind of funny because it's like we know what we heard the first time when they were talking about this, and we know by just the sheer numbers of the people now working at the studio, the number of different studios that there's a very good chance that they're working on more than one title at the moment right now. But the fact that they keep trying to like hide this is really hilarious.
Yeah, like how he says, I also like The Witcher. I'd like to keep making Witcher type games.
Yeah, but in the middle, there was agreement with the author. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there is also that. I mean, I don't know. It's like, I doubt that it's gonna be Witcher until this is resolved. I don't think any company would actually go into full development. Maybe ideas are always there, but nothing which is gonna move past that if they don't resolve this with Sapkowski.
No, that would be first. That would be an insane waste of money if you
Yeah.
don't win. A second, that would put your pressure on yourself, on having to accept demands that you may not want to accept.
Yes. And we didn't have any info about that lawsuit. I don't think there was an update as of yet. So we don't know.
Not an official one. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they reached an agreement or something like that. Who knows? But nothing official as of yet. Nothing official.
Yeah.
Man. I think there were also some concerns about the release date. People still think that it's gonna be delayed. It's like, is this gonna really happening? April? Yeah. I don't know.
Well, if it's delayed, it's delayed. I mean,
yeah. Honestly,
I'm sorry to say that, but where is the fucking problem?
I wouldn't mind.
What do you want? First and foremost, what do you want? A good game, right? So let them take the time. If they make an estimation and it's wrong, and it's wrong, what do you want them to make a priority? The release date or the quality? I want them to prioritize the quality. So if they have to release it, let them.
Yeah.
Release it later.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're still quite far away from full release. So
the problem is that they delayed Doom. They delayed Doom, and it's too close to Cyberpunk 2077. So if they delay Cyberpunk, I won't complain.
Yeah, because ultimately everyone wants to play a good game. So you either wait or you get the game faster, but you don't play a good game. What do you want? It's like, I would rather play a quality game.
How did Ivinsky say it? Nobody remembers a bad game shipped on time.
Yes. Yeah. And The Witcher was also delayed. I mean, they had other problems then. It was delayed two or three times. And at the end, what you got a good game. If you can just imagine what you would got if they didn't delay it for the first time. They wouldn't have had the success they had right now. And at the end of the day, no one is talking, oh yeah, The Witcher was delayed 3 times. No, they say, oh, The Witcher is a really good game. So yeah, same thing.
True that. People complained when it was delayed, on the time it was delayed. But after that, who the fuck remembers it was delayed?
Like how we have...
Honestly. It's like you said, now people talk about how good the game it is, not, it was delayed like a lot.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares about that after the game is released?
Yeah, I mean, you just wait for it. I mean, there's so many things to do. I get it. Everyone wants to play. I want to play. You want to play Cyberpunk, but I doubt. I don't, like, I'm 90% certain they will release on the 16th of April. 90%. I have this 10% reserved because I don't want to blindly believe it, but I wouldn't mind. But if it, I mean, at the end of the day, it ships. But yeah. I don't know. It's like the entire campaign started with the 16th of April, so I don't know if now they will change it.
I'd like to answer a question that's been addressed directly to me by Bill Ashby. You or anyone else on the label are looking forward to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. I can't play this game. Even though I love the pen and paper game, I can't play it.
Yeah.
Without dying.
First person.
First person with a lot of head bobs. An insane amount of head bobs, and the worst of all is super dark. If it had more light, maybe with difficulties, but I would be able to play it. But if it's dark, it's impossible to play a first person game for me.
Oh, so if it has light in it, it's better than...
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
If it's dark or has super strong contrast. For instance, Prey, that is supposed to be part horror, part science fiction, and it wasn't totally dark. They solved the typical dark things of horror a different way. It was quite accessible to play, but Vampire, impossible. There's no fucking way.
I'm looking forward to it though. I'm sad that people are working on to lower the effects of motion sickness, but hopefully it's resolved so that everyone can enjoy the same thing. Honestly. I don't know.
Well, if there are quests that require something super dark, I won't be able to play them. Or maybe I will have to ask someone if it's part of the main storyline. I will need to ask someone to do this quest for me to be able to continue the game. It's something that also happened to me in the past. That very specific quest that took place in locations that were very dark. I couldn't play them. What I could faint, because it also happened to me that I fainted playing video games.
That's true. But it is a huge game. Like, there's a really huge community around it. And the first game was amazing, I'm not gonna lie. Like the video game, not referring to pen and paper, but the first video game ahead of its time. Honestly. That's why I'm looking forward to the second one, because I want to see how much it progressed through all these years.
So the source material was already good, to be honest.
Yeah.
One of the best and most successful pen and paper games, because there was a time while World of Darkness games were so popular. There were people who were not into pen and paper games, but they only played Vampire Masquerade and a little bit of the other World of Darkness games like Werewolf and Changeling and that, but mostly Vampire.
That's true. There were also some questions about continuing on. I don't know if you guys finished Girls and Gals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the unit. I don't know if I finished.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
We also had some Switch questions. Is it coming to Switch?
Yes. Yeah. And shocker, guys. It's not coming to. It's not coming to the Switch.
Yeah, I don't think
maybe
so.
The next Switch.
Yeah.
Like the more upgraded version. In like 5 years or something like that. But I mean, this game's already a beast. This game can barely function. This game is a very, very, very.
It doesn't come to Switch at release. That's the official response at release. Yeah. After that, unknown.
But they did say like probably not. If we can, if they can do it.
They said unknown.
Yeah.
I mean, not at release, and unknown if later.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it all comes down to the technical side of Switch. Can we do it? If impossible, nah. If there is a chance, I think they will go for it. Of course they will. It's a huge market.
Oh, why? This reminded me an interview with Martin Evinsky, where the interviewer was talking about the port for Switch of The Witcher 3. And it seems that the interviewer thought that the Switch was a console for casuals. And with a very pretending to be insulting tone, said to Ivinsky, "But you had to be like a casual to play the Switch, the Switch, the Switch. So what kind of people plays that?" And Ivinsky says, "Well, me. I travel a lot." And the face of the interviewer, poem.
Yeah, I mean, come on, it's Switch Lite. It's what people needed. PSP is dead. Everything else is dead. We have mobile phones, but mobile phones can't handle games Switch can, and I don't know.
And also they are more uncomfortable to play games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, I really want a controller set up for mine, because it's like I have one of the ones that is built for gaming, and it's pretty fun. It's pretty good, but yeah, the control system is still just garbage, and I want a better control system.
Yeah.
But it's so easy, and here's the funny thing: it's really easy to just purely dominate when you're using an actual controller and stick. When you're playing any of the games that require that, it's like cheating. It's so unfair. But it's like, well, yeah, that's what you get when you playing this game type. So.
Or this crossplay now with Code Mobile with PC, because that's official. Like, people, like I said to my friend, "Oh, I'm playing Code Mobile on my PC." It's like, what the hell? It's like, it's official. It's official. You can download it. So I don't know. I think mobile games are gonna be a future when phones become even, better, with better screens. Already now we're seeing faster screens. It's just a matter of time until every single phone has it. Now I think OnePlus has it, and Razer and Asus I think have faster screens. Something like that. But I just want a faster screen, honestly. Better refresh rate than the one I have. I'll be fine.
Well, mobile phones are going to evolve, because there's people who can who needs time to play, and this time is when they are traveling to places,
Mm-hmm.
like commuting.
Mm-hmm.
And this gives you a lot of time to play, and also sometimes gives you the only time you have to play.
Yeah. And it's not even just commuting nowadays. Like people play on their mobiles when they're at home. It's like it's one more platform you can kind of play your games on. But
Well, yes, the good thing about phones is that you're going to buy it anyway. It's
yeah.
not like a console that's something you need to buy to play games exclusively.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And people usually don't own PCs anymore.
Well, yeah.
Some do, but if they use the PC for something, but most people use for the uses they have for this kind of technology, they have the phone and that's it, and they don't need anything else.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
So this reduces their capability to play PC games because they don't have a PC and they're not going to buy a console which is expensive
Mm-hmm.
just to play games. A phone, you're going to buy a phone, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the mobile game market is gonna be huge in the next couple of years. Like it's already starting to grow. Like more and more games that are from consoles and PC are going to mobile, so it's gonna be huge. In my opinion, next couple of years, it's gonna grow a lot, a lot.
I think it'll grow. I think they're going to hit a wall though at some point when they do start to cut out the microtransactions and start to legislate it a lot
Oh
more.
yeah, oh yeah.
I think there's gonna be a lot of companies that are gonna suddenly hit a real big wall.
Not really, because when you have the law, you can make the trick.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like it depends, right? So what I mean by legislation is, I think there'll come a time where they'll basically say, yeah, we can link, gambling addiction to these games. We can also link that these companies knew that they were doing this, so anybody who suffered can sue them. And the minute that you do that, that I think is when we're going to get the crash. And I think
Yeah, but I
a
don't
lot
believe
of
that this is
big
ever
companies.
going to happen.
Oh, I think it's going to happen. I think there's already a lot of people talking about it. There's already right now there's a lot of politicians who need to win, and to win they need to make somebody an enemy, and it just so happens that absolutely nobody is protecting the interests of these big gaming companies. I mean, and we see this with the whole controversy with Blizzard right now and the NBA. It's like if somebody has it out for entertainment companies and they really screwed up, there's very few people who are actively interested in protecting them because very few of these companies have fostered a healthy environment for their
We'll
fans.
see. We'll see if this Blizzard thing goes anywhere.
Yeah, I'll
See.
just have to
It's
quickly
A lot
cut
of
you guys here.
backlash on the internet, but apart
It's
from
already
that,
going somewhere. It is already going somewhere. There's just keep watching here up until BlizzCon, and you're gonna see some pretty cool stuff.
BlizzCon is gonna be
well,
interesting.
let's see what happened. I believe this BlizzCon is going to be very interesting, but I am
And I
really
am in
curious.
no way, shape, or form cooperating or organizing with anybody. And there's certainly not a Discord out there that you can join right now and help to coordinate for mass protests against Blizzard. There's for certain, like definitely, there's nothing like that currently going on right now.
Yeah, don't Google it because you're not going to find anything.
I have to cut you right here quickly. We have a donation from Red Wolf. Thank you for $10. And we also have a question before we continue. Hey guys, love all your content. Do you think if a large number of crowd funded an optional third-person perspective to be added, would CDPR bite? Also, what are each of your opinions on optional third-person? No, I don't. No, they won't bite. The thing is, we're gonna have mods.
Well, the thing is not money to start with.
Yeah.
The thing is not money. The engine is built for first person. Also, the structures of things inside the game are also built for first person. The game is already built for first person. And if something on third person is added later, first it's going to look weird, and second it's going to be fan made.
Yeah. But
So
yeah.
I have a different perspective on this because I'm heavily involved in this. So yes, CDPR would be interested if they get a universal panning where not panning when the game comes out, if the major and most common complaint is no third person, and if this is the constant complaint overall, going, I see what they did here. And at first I was really excited for it, but it's just a little too much. There's a lot of scenes where I started to feel annoyed. Not even talking about people who have motion sickness, but if that was the most common complaint, everything else about the game is solid, but that's the most common complaint, and then somebody comes out with a mod for it where suddenly you have 3 or 4 different really fascinating mods, and I've talked about some of them that are around for Skyrim. There's a couple of mods that do real head tracing, so like you're literally looking out of your character's eyes, because the first person, I'm using air quotes right now, the first person modes that you have are not real first persons. You can stand in first person and whip your head around 360, in the fraction of a second over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. You can't do, I don't know if you know, but you can't do this in real life. You can't just
Really?
Yeah,
Shit.
it's just shocking.
I need to call an exorcist then.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of things that the Skyrim modders have done really interestingly to kind of come up with some very interesting, true immersive first persons. Which, if they were going with this, they should have tracked some of those. I think, honestly, that would have helped. They do have kind of a sense of it, but it's not flushed out nearly to the level that some of these modders can. And I think that when you have something like this and some of these mods, if they can replicate this level of success and this level of depth and this level of immersion for not just third person, but also for first person, and really bump it up a level, I think we will see CDPR look at that and go, wow, okay, here's some really good ideas. Because again, there's nothing groundbreaking about having your game being a first-person game. And it's kind of insulting to baseline intelligence of anybody to claim that a first-person game, because it's using a first-person camera, which is just the standard industry camera. No, there's nothing special about it. There's no cool advancements behind it. Claiming that this is somehow a revolutionary thing is absolutely moronic. If you want to see real, where they're really making headways into this, you got to look at some of the VR stuff. That's where they're starting to make some headway into this stuff. And yes, that kind of technology is still kind of out of reach for generic, console/TV gameplay, or computer and monitor gameplay, because you don't have that same responsiveness. But like I'm saying, is that there is leaps and bounds that the technology can grow, and it's also something important to note that when you do have a third person, or when you do have issues with somebody who can only really play in third person, the motion sickness or whatever, if you give them a VR unit, they don't have those same issues. They don't have that same motion sickness in the majority of cases. So again, it's like the technology that we're looking at is just a little bit like out of sort. And I think CDPR is smart enough that they know that yeah, they might not have thought about everything, but when they do see something that is revolutionizing, I think they capitalize on that, and I think that's what a good company does, and I think that they're a good company, and I think that they will. I don't think that it'll change for release, for sure not. Might not even change for anything in the near future for expansions and whatnot, but I suspect that their next game down the line is probably going to incorporate some of these advancements in this field for both first and third person, especially if this were the case where it becomes the significantly the main issue, then I think we're going to run into some real issues there. So that's my extensive thoughts on it.
Yeah, but it all depends. It all boils down to if the main complaint is that, which I honestly don't believe is going to be the case.
Well, we'll see, because we don't know yet.
No, but I know gamers TM, so sure it's not going to be the main complaint. There was another question here. Yes, Tenu said, anyone agree that the hype for Cyberpunk has died down a little bit? Gameplay looks a bit clunky so far. Well, I don't know what gameplay do you see, but I didn't see clunky gameplay. I saw a gameplay that corrected a lot of things that I complained about in past gameplay.
Yeah.
I didn't see any clunky gameplay.
It's like they prepared the deep dive video. Like they will remove any clunkiness that's left. Like I didn't see. Maybe someone noticed something I didn't. Hype is something that goes up and down. I mean, I don't like too much hype for this game because I don't want people to be disappointed in some way. But you know, if the hype dies down, it's gonna go back really fast. If it managed to hold out before any news when that first teaser trailer dropped, it's like been a pause for what, 5 years, something like that. Was it 5 years without any news whatsoever? If it didn't die then, it's not going to die now. Maybe it lowered down a bit. Who knows? Like things go up and down.
Well, it's usually when there are no big official news, there's less movement about it. That doesn't mean that the hype dies.
Yeah.
It's just that people is waiting.
Yeah. In a lot of cases, you know, like anytime you're talking about a fandom, it's like you talk to somebody with their favorite sports team, you know, the week of the finals where they're going for the whatever. People are nuts. Like they're losing their minds. Versus like 3 months beforehand or 6 months beforehand, or it's, of course it's still there. It's just taking a breather for a minute, and that's I think don't assume incorrectly that there's no back-end, that there's no support for this, because there is. And don't make the assumption that, oh well, it's just not going to be good because of whatever. So no, I think most of the fans are just taking a bit of a breather. It is kind of a peak news time for a lot of other games, a lot of other products right now. I know I'm having a ton of fun with Code Vein, and also work. So there's that, and can't really, not much I can do about that. But
I would like to answer a question from Red Wolf. It says, MadQueen, I remember you getting sick when you first saw the gameplay. Would you not want the option? With all honesty, yes, it's true that the first time that I saw the gameplay, I got really sick. But it's also true that I was in a room that wasn't very big. It had no air at all. It had no light, which is my main problem, and it smelled like hell, because I was surrounded by people that spend the day walking below the Los Angeles sun. So there's a lot of factors that are not going to be present when I play the game. So before I have an opinion on that, and knowing, because there's something that is known, that they are taking steps to ensure that they are going to minimize as much as possible the things that give motion sickness. When I play it, I will be able to answer, not before. And someone asked before about unrelated and short, if I would recommend the Surge 2. I didn't play the second, but I played the first and I loved it.
We also had like a very interesting question from Artemius TGM. I'm just not 100% sold on the characters in the game. I love The Witcher 3 because Geralt, Triss, Yen, Ciri, etc. were such amazing characters that I genuinely liked hanging out with. V seems a bit meh.
You lack the knowledge in the lore about the characters. Because, well, Johnny Silverhand is a jerk, but wait until you meet the rest of the people. And because obviously Rage Botmos is like, he's dead again. So is he going to be in the game? He's not going to be in the game. But yeah, Alt Cunningham, they are all Spider Murphy. Spider Murphy is going to be in the game. They are all very charismatic. Very, very charismatic. So characters is like the last thing I would be worried about. The last thing. But obviously, for having this feeling of the last thing to be worried about, you need to know the characters in 2020, and they were very charismatic. For instance, Silverhand, he was absolutely charismatic, but he was a dick. He was a jerk. And in spite of being a jerk, he was very charismatic. And the charismatic leadership of the Rock Boys was very well represented on Johnny Silverhand.
Yeah, I mean, we still haven't seen the characters in game, so like to an extent. So I don't know. For me, they're interesting. Also, like I see where they're coming from. The Witcher 3 characters are good. They're really great. They're interesting. But trust me, you're gonna have a blast playing Cyberpunk when you really get to know them. And like so far, it's like they have good characters. For me, Jackie is a great character. Even though we've seen only snippets of him, I was really fucking sad when he died in that video. So yeah.
It's funny because someone asked me on Twitter, well, why was I dying when Jackie died? It's like, is that even a fucking question?
You introduce us with your guy, then you kill him off. That's so dark.
So we gotta. You know what we need to do is we need to make a in memorial video for him. You know,
Yes.
it's like, remember that time where we saw him sitting in that place eating those noodles, and then remember the time where he gave us that mission, and who can forget about the time where we saw him eating the noodles, or when he took us out on that mission that one time.
Well, you know that the noodle guy is not Jackie, right?
No,
I'm not sure if you made
Jackie.
it on purpose to build a joke. Maybe you did, but the noodle guy is not Jackie. It's Dexter's bodyguard.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, in that case, that even remember Jackie when he gave us that one mission, and then remember Jackie when he gave us that one mission.
He was
Remember when
eating
he took the
noodles
bullet in
once.
that one mission. I swear he was eating the noodles once. I don't know. At this point, it's like all I'm saying is that it seems a little silly for people to be like, oh, poor Jackie, we shall love thee forever. Oh.
Just imagine going to
it's
the game.
it's like you know, it's just,
in Star Trek, in the first Star Trek by J.J. Abrams, they killed the father of Kirk. In the first 10 minutes of the film, and you cry as well. There's no more introduction to the character.
I never cried during that scene. I don't know what time. But anyway.
Did you watch Star Trek's Abrams Star Trek?
No, I watched that. I didn't cry when his dad died. I was like,
because you're a robot, but the rest of the people cry.
That was a bit sad, though.
Because it's the father of Captain Kirk. I mean, it's an important moment.
It's just you go into the game and you go around with Jack. He's like, "Oh, I'm fine." I'm like, "No, you're not. No, you're not. Just wait for about 5 more hours. You're not gonna be fine." When that mission comes, I can see people already when that mission starts. Protect Jackie. Screw the trip. Protect Jackie.
For a moment, I made the mental image of the super macho playing Cyberpunk 2077 in his computer with a pack of Kleenex next to him.
Oh yeah.
And then his mother coming into the room and the Kleenex there. So what's this for, kiddo? And as he doesn't want to say that he's going to cry when Jackie is going to die, he says, "No, it's for the porn, Mama." I have this image every time that I think about.
Yes. I love seafood too. So.
Come on, kill it with a blowjob joke.
All right. So, the vibe at the studio is pretty decent from what I'm hearing. Everything seems to be healthy, and aside from there being obviously they're working hard. Obviously they're entering crunch time. Obviously this is a thing, right? Yes. Other than that, it's like it seems that everything is going fine.
Yeah, that's that's good, and they also expect a lot from Cyberpunk. Like they said, like it's really important for the studio for Cyberpunk to succeed because they have more, it consists of more companies, and all of those companies that are under CD Projekt are working on Cyberpunk, so it has to succeed. I mean,
yeah, otherwise the company will go to hell.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. When you invest everything into one game, like majority of your assets go into one game, it has to succeed.
I don't mean only economic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mostly don't mean economically, even if economically it would be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But if Cyberpunk fails, with the level of scrutiny that CD Projekt has over them at this point with Cyberpunk, and the level of hype, if they disappoint with Cyberpunk, it would be the end of the studio.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think that they are going to be anywhere close this disappointing with the game, to be honest. But if they do, that's going to be the end of the studio.
It will be. It will be. Like that's the thing when your CDPR is now like this company that is very nice. It has to produce good games because they did in the past. So they have a lot.
Also, people is measuring them with a higher standard. that other companies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Things that other companies do that are worse don't have a fraction of the backlash that CD Projekt Red has is if they do them.
That's true. That's true. And people want them. I mean, people want them to succeed. And if they showed anything in the past, like and what they've shown with this gameplay and the deep dive, we're in for a lot of stuff. They really like. I can imagine they really went through most of the stuff that can go bad, and they said like, let's work on it. And they took their sweet time, and they should. Especially for a game of this size, it needs time. It definitely needs time to actually be done. So after all these years, hopefully everything goes fine when it's released. The initial,
Well,
I think.
I'm positive. I don't have any doubt, to be honest. I don't have any doubt because usually, what goes wrong with games usually are bad practices. If you look at the history of gaming, it's not a game that fails and developers put their heart in the game. No, I never saw in the history of gaming. If I'm incorrect, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I've never seen in the history of games any game that failed miserably when the developers were doing everything that they could to make a good game. It always failed for other reasons because it was released and it wasn't finished. It had a lot of technical problems.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. A lot of games failed because, developers put their heart and soul into it, then the publisher says, well, we kind of need it on this date. And then it's out, it's not good. So that's... And usually...
Somnolence says... Sorry.
Just falls down to developers at the end of the day. They're the ones that are taking the blame for everything, so yeah. In the eyes of the publishers, yeah. But I'm done.
I don't know if you're done because you make pauses when you talk.
Oh yeah.
and as audio, when I'm going to interrupt you, you're going to continue talking, and I never know when you're done. But I wanted to answer Somnolence's question. As I understand, Went was a failure financially. Well, I have an opinion about Went. The market was already filled with card games. It was a little late to release a new card game. The format and the date, I don't believe that matched together. And with this, I don't see that. I'm not saying that the Went was better or worse. It just was too late.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it definitely entered in late. There's a couple other market things that were involved. It was bad timing, bad marketing, bad exclusionary market, and then just really on the downhill of card games. And I don't even understand why. It's like Hearthstone came out, and that was at the absolute end of the peak for most card games. They started to go downhill from there. And despite knowing that, and despite clearly having the evidence that it was, a bunch of companies, not just CDPR, dozens and dozens of companies went all in on card games. Mm-hmm. There's even more coming out now. Several have come out this year, and it's why? Are you kidding me? Really? This is ludicrously stupid. Come on, people, wake up.
Because people still play card games in a physical version. I mean, Magic is trending, but Magic in the physical version is trending, not the digital.
Mm-hmm.
There's this digital version, but it's not as successful as the physical one. Also because, playing Magic has a social factor that playing online doesn't have.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And now I think it's too late. It's stop. Let's do something else. I think we already have way too many digital card games. I mean, I'm not much of a fan. I don't play card games all that much in a digital version. I'm not much of a Gwent guy, but I don't know.
I played card games back in the day. I played an insane amount of Magic and Legend of the Five Rings and the card games of Vampire Masquerade, but incredibly long because we made games of 15 people and we were playing for 5 hours straight, and Pokemon and Star Wars and there was a moment for that, and later the digital versions tried to catch up with all this trend, but it was too late.
Yeah. Still remember Yu-Gi-Oh.
I didn't play Yu-Gi-Oh.
That was huge in my country back in the day. Huge. Yu-Gi-Oh was everywhere. Everyone was playing it.
Well, in my country it was Magic mostly.
Here was
Because the card game, even though the pen and paper game of Vampire was like super popular, the card game it was super slow and it wasn't very successful.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of people playing it, but Magic the Mortgage, yes, Magic the Mortgage. True, you spent a lot of money in cards. Well, in the place where we gathered to play pen and paper games and card games, we could play with cards that were downloaded from the internet and printed to avoid making it a money thing, a pay to win thing. So everybody had the same opportunities. It wasn't a matter of money. It was a matter of knowing the game.
True. Ali says Uno needs to become a virtual card game. It did. There is an Uno video game from Ubisoft.
Really?
Yeah, there's also
I didn't know.
It is. There is.
There's a mobile game I know that like you have to pay to play matches, which is really annoying. But you do get like 2 or 3 free matches a day. I used to play that a fair amount. I had like a 70% win rate, which was fun, I guess. But ultimately, it's like, I like the banter that I have when you play it with like other people, and I don't think that.
Yeah, I mean, what's the fun of playing Uno in digital if you can't look at your opponent? Like, I hate your face. I hate you because you did that. That's the fun of the game. That's something that cannot be translated to digital unless you're playing over Skype or something like that.
Or face cam included in the game. It's like
yes,
your webcam just starts. But I don't think people will
something
want
like that. Like I can understand because, by the way, I'm clicking like to the podcast, then I'm reading the questions, and when I look again at the likes, my like disappear.
Yeah, that's the problem I experienced as well. Likes, dislikes, everything, it disappears, changes. Like I upload my video, it has, let's say, 1 or 2 dislikes. I refresh the video, it has 0 dislikes or likes. I don't know why. It's not monitoring correctly.
Is there anything else that doesn't work in YouTube?
Nothing works. Robert Xerxes says, question to participants, what is actually your favorite game? Mine is Jagged Alliance 2.
Oh, yeah. That probably, for strategy, that's my number one. I 100% agree with you, because there's so many mods for it. The game is huge. You can get, like, you can play it on so many different levels. Like, you can have a team of all just, like, silent snipers. You can have a team of, like, silent, like, close range knife throwers. You can have a team of, like, one of my favorite ones is like the demolitionist team, where you just like go through like sneaky set up like just an absolute massive landmine or like triggered explosive area with one dude who's just like a mad bomber and is like, oh, look at all these enemies, I'm totally surrounded and I only have 3 action points. Oh, I wonder what happens if I push this button, and everybody explodes and there's just nothing left, and you're like, I guess that's what the button does. It's like, oh, the fun of that. I'm really not a mad bomber. I'm really not. But it's like stuff like that you can do is so much fun. And the character creation, that was the best character creator I have ever had, hands down. And I really wish any company would just like incorporate some of that stuff now. It's like, who would you like to see? A fight between NRA or Congress? Fight to the death. Who would win? It's like, we know you don't support violence, but no, really, yes, I do support violence. The best. You sir win, big win today. Robert, yes.
Yeah, awesome. Mine is Gothic, definitely.
Yeah.
Amazing RPG, amazing. Like the amount of fun I had in Gothic 1, like even to this day. Like this channel started with Gothic 1, so yeah, Gothic 1, definitely. My favorite
Mine would
game.
be Bioshock 1. Because I was totally freaking out with the art style of the game. It was totally groundbreaking for me. And when I made the joke before of fainting playing a game, yeah, I fainted playing Bioshock 1 because the game is in first person and it's very dark. Yes, I did. Funnily enough, I played it the house of a friend of mine who at that time was addicted to WoW, so I could have his console for as much time as I want. And I finished the game out of pure stubbornness because I got sick all the time. And when I finished the game, I stood up to tell my friend that I finished the game, and that I going for him, I fainted. And he was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh god.
Very funny, but I loved the game,
Yeah, it was.
especially the design. The visual aspects of the game were like, oh. In fact, I got killed. This thing that I always joke about, that if I don't get killed 10 times in the first hour of gameplay, your game looks like shit. It comes from Bioshock 1, because I found it so beautiful. It was all the time looking around things, and I got killed because I wasn't paying attention to the actual gameplay.
Yeah, it was visually stunning, not gonna lie. Really visually stunning.
Well, there's this rumor that there's a new Bioshock game on the works. So go figure what's going to happen with this. That there's a new Bioshock game that is that is going to be published by 2K, but I don't know who's going to develop it. But it was a rumor that started a couple of years ago, I believe. And it was an ultra secret.
Yeah,
but yeah, I would like to say the Bioshock 3 is like set in the same universe but a different part of the universe. It was also very interesting, but nothing like the first.
Yeah. Yeah, like Bioshock Infinite also has really nice visual design. Level design is amazing. Like the entire art direction for that game is really nice. I liked it a lot. But yeah.
That's also the third, yes. And the story was also the story of the first. It had a couple of, you didn't expect that. Well, the third also did.
Yeah.
But I liked the first mostly visual, even more than the story.
That's true. Had really nice progression also.
Yes.
Except that level, I don't know what it was. I think you had to close some valves or something like that. What had to
Whales?
Valves, like the thing you turn, a valve.
Oh, valves.
Oh yeah, I forgot to pronounce it correctly.
I don't understand what you mean.
There was one goddamn mission. Terrible. Where you had to put on like a valve on something in like this garden of some sort, surrounded by enemies. Terrible. I don't remember it that much. It was a
What game? What one of the two games we're talking about?
1.
What are you talking
Bioshock
about?
1.
1 or 3? The one. The Big
Bioshock 1.
Daddies.
Yeah. First game.
Something about the Big Daddies. Something about the Big Daddies.
Oh no, it wasn't that. It was just.
I don't know what quest do you mean.
I don't remember now, but one part of the game I remember I had so much trouble with it, but that was like ages ago. I don't remember. I know it was something of a botanical garden, that sort of a level.
Oh yes. I remember the level now.
Yeah, I hate it to this day.
Yes, there was someone with an automatic machine gun.
Oh yeah.
Hidden.
Oh yeah, something like that.
Until you found a way to destroy it, it was difficult.
Oh yeah.
I do remember. Well, I bought the remastered of 3 and played them again not long ago. But I expected more improvements. Because also this was done for a new generation of consoles, and I was expecting more improvements, but no.
Just the reskin, huh?
Yeah, a little bit of changes in textures, and that's it.
Yeah.
Still a good game, though.
Yeah, though. Yeah.
Well, considering that lately I'm playing System Shock, which is cutting edge technology, but it's System Shock.
Great game.
Yeah.
It's like one of the golden age of video games, in my opinion. So many good games were made back in the day before all this mess with corporations and business. It was such a good time, honestly.
Oh, you mean like E.T.? Atari's E.T.
After that.
Oh yes, that had nothing to do with corporations.
E.T. was a great game. They just, they just didn't ship the whole thing. They just
Yeah, that's why they buried them. They forgot to ship them. They forgot to ship them.
It was all about hiding. You know, it was the DLC that they were waiting for. That's what it was.
Oh god.
Those
Uh-huh.
microtransactions would have made it so much better. Now it's like, hey, want to finish a game? An extra $50.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's bad. That is bad for the industry now. We'll see how it's gonna progress. By the way, we've been going on for 90 minutes. I don't know if we have any more news to talk about. Do we have anything for the end? I think we should wrap up soon.
Well, let me just take a quick.
Yeah.
So the new consoles are. He addressed it here in this article, but it's not just from them. It's. I'm hearing this from everybody who's been working on the new console, the new PlayStation console. It's a train wreck. Now it's still a year away. It's the dev kits. Obviously, this is not retrospective. This is not an example of what the final product is going to be. But I'm not hearing good things for the new console. So yeah, and because of this, do not expect to be playing Cyberpunk on the PlayStation at launch. It's probably not going to happen. In fact, it's probably not going to happen for at least 6 months to a year later. So just kind of bear that in mind if you're on PlayStation or you're thinking of upgrading to a PlayStation. Just bear in mind that this game is not reportedly.
An intermission. He's talking about PlayStation 5.
Yes, yeah, the new console. That's what I said. The new
because
console.
the game has been announced for PlayStation 4 and it's going to be released in PlayStation 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it was the way you explained it was a little confusing, so I just wanted to make sure that it was understood.
Yeah, okay.
Please go on.
Again, it's the new consoles, the dev kits for the new PlayStation 5 is not reported to be going so well. They've got a year to fix it, so let's hope that happens. But yeah, just kind of keep if you're a PlayStation player, keep your ear to the ground because you're probably gonna be facing some issues on that down the road here. So.
Mm-hmm.
They have a year to fix it. As like we were saying at the beginning, before we went live, they don't have a year to fix it if they want to have games on release.
Mm-hmm.
Because developers need to have,
time.
The dev kit to be able to make the games for these platforms, so they don't have a year.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a big hit when it comes out if they don't actually fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially on release, you want to have some good games to ship with your new console. Otherwise, not neck. I don't want another neck game.
Consoles doesn't sell by themselves. We all know that.
Yeah.
Games sell the consoles.
Mm-hmm.
And this generation we're in, that's about to finish, Sony had the upper hand for the games.
Yeah.
Microsoft is catching up. So if Sony doesn't do something good, they are going to lose a good part of the market that they had this generation. It's as simple as that.
But at the end of the day, good for the consumer if another company picks it up. If
the company is going to pick it up is Microsoft.
Yeah, of course. With their new Xbox. We'll see. This constant war, somewhat war.
Yeah, because the Scorpio already was better than the PlayStation 4. And why didn't it succeed? Because they didn't have games.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
They would have had the games, and if things go like this, the next generation, the Scarlet is going to be better than the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
And if they also have the games because they've been working on it.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Sony, but things look very dark for you.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter which console or PC you play. Just enjoy the game. But you let the companies. If a console is bad, there's no problem in admitting that.
Yes, but you need the games to play. But Microsoft bought Ninja Theory, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like the Scarlet is going to have a sequel of Senua, Hellblade.
Mm-hmm.
That is an amazing game. An amazing game is short. Is under not technical perspective is quite quote unquote simple. But it's not it's not as huge as a AAA game.
Mm-hmm.
But it was impeccable in every single aspect. Animations, oh my god,
They're amazing.
Fantastic! They're fantastic. Even the most secondary characters of the secondary characters had secondary animations. Like they all had personality, which is something that I wish we saw in games more often. It was an amazing game, and Microsoft bought Ninja Theory, so they also bought a couple of more indie companies. But I was especially interested in that because in Ninja Theory, because I loved Hellblade with a passion. And I'm looking forward for them to have capability, the economic capabilities to make a big game.
Mm-hmm.
It can be amazing.
Yeah. I really want that story to expand.
And even if it's a different story, if it's the same quality, I'm in.
Oh yeah. That's definitely. But it's probably gonna be an exclusive.
If it's an exclusive, I mean, shut up and take my money.
Yeah. At the end of the day, as you said, games are what sells. If I don't have any good games on Xbox right now, there is no point in buying. It doesn't mean I hate Xbox. No, I don't have any games to play.
Yeah.
Any good games.
What else? A console for you don't have games.
Yeah.
And even less if it's a Microsoft console where you can play the game on PC, because there are no exclusives anymore, only for consoles.
Oh yeah. There's also that. There's also the that part.
Why I'm going to buy an Xbox if they have an exclusive game? I can play it on PC.
They might actually go for full exclusive in that way. They'll have to.
But I don't know what are their plans. But if they intend to push exclusivity to sell the consoles, well, probably that's a good way to go.
Oh yeah.
Not backward compatibility, which is a good thing. But I mean, I'm not going to buy a new Xbox if with the Xbox that I have, I can play the games that I have.
Mm-hmm.
So, give me new games.
Yeah, that's true. I can't wait. Oh, there's gonna be so many titles coming out in the first quarter of 2020. It's gonna be insane. Every single month there is something big. Jeez.
Yeah, I'm watching all the films on my, because when the big releases of games start, I'm going to end with my social life, with my eating time, with my sleeping time, and I'm just going to lie inside my as Rage Bard modes and play.
Yeah.
Which is not going to be very healthy, I know.
That's true. Anyway. Anything else for the end before we go on? I don't know if there was any questions.
The one I do have to give a thumbs down on the GameSpot article for one little spot, one little question, one little thing that I don't know why they did it the way that they did this, because everybody in the industry who's following this game knows what's going on here, and for some reason they just included this question, which again has resulted in a bunch of people going, oh, so there's no multiplayer. The question was if there's going to be multiplayer support for Cyberpunk 2077 at launch. The answer to that is no. The answer to that has been no for a long time. The ultimate question of will 2077 have multiplayer support? That's a resounding yes. We are working on it. It is our primary focus for post-launch content. And for some reason they just kind of threw this out here saying, no, it's definitely not coming. And now there's more people who again are confused on the whole multiplayer thing. Multiplayer there was just too much for them to put into the game at launch, and they had to break it up. It was not a decision that they came too lightly, and yet for some reason journalists have a hard time understanding this. Apparently. So yeah, just kind of wanted to draw attention to that and reassure everybody that yes, multiplayer is still planned. It's very much still planned for the future of that game. Obviously,
someone said in the comments, boom, pizza companies from April 2020. I'm going to make a pizza.
Yeah.
Okay, we can wrap it up in here.
Who is next week, by the way?
Neon.
Oh, Neon. Yeah, Neon. So basically, next week we have the 30th. Nice. Episode of the community podcast is going to be on the Neon Arcades channel, and you also have all the links for everyone here for Twitter, Discord, and YouTube in the description of the video. So check everyone out, follow us, because we have all the latest information when the podcast is going to be. If you want to follow up with that and some other, cyberpunk and gaming related news, you can check out the links below. Definitely. But yeah, it was a good one. Finally get some info. I was afraid it's gonna be a dry week again, but luckily we had PAX. So that's good.
Well, let's see what happens when we don't have any conventions.
That's gonna be maybe something from them.
Holiday season. Start putting together your Christmas wish lists for content for us to do in and around the holiday season, because it might be a little dry, but then it might not be. We don't really know yet. So yeah.
Well, I'm sorry guys, but if there's no news, I do no videos. I don't need news. I can work.
And also for everyone asking, this podcast is going live as soon as YouTube finishes the processing, so you'll have it on the channel.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a bit of time, but it's maybe coming in an hour for everyone who misses it. So yeah, that's good. All right. Anyone else has something for the end, or are we done?
No.
Okay.
No, I think we're good.
Okay, thank you everyone so much for coming. Thank you, Sib. Thank you, Mad Queen, for also joining the podcast. And to everyone watching, thank you so much for all the support. And join us next Sunday over at the Neon Arcade. Last Nomil signing out, and bye-bye.